Hello and welcome to the Spirit Hunters podcast. I'm Lance White Eagle, and with me this week are
Monkey,
Hunter,
Lisa!
Shane,
Lisa!
tiny hands.
Anyway, this
great to start to a podcast.
This week we're going to be talking about our investigation at the Genesee Falls Inn in Genesee Falls, New York.
Looks like a gremlin.
For the live people, we're sorry we didn't get this out there to give you an advance notice, but here we are.
Here we go. So the Genesee Falls Inn has been in operation for quite a few years.
A lot of years.
1800s.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see
It
that's
was
quite a few years.
a saloon, and still across the street was the old time like general store and
yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah, and it still looks like the
You can
actual.
tell it was a general
Yeah.
store.
Yeah. And any other background you want to give, Shane?
I always forget
Yeah.
every time. A lot of famous people have stayed there.
Hi, Jeannie.
President McKinley, I
Yep,
believe,
McKinley
stayed there.
Famous boxer, I forget his name
Elvis
now.
or was that the Dudley?
Oh, Elvis, I think, was there. I don't feel like he was at the Dudley.
Al Capone, I know was at the Dudley. So it must have been
Yeah,
at
yeah.
Genesee then. Yeah. So
Yeah,
Elvis.
over the years, had quite a few people.
I mean, it's a big place too.
Yeah, and the owners are in Long Island, right?
Right.
So we got
Long Island.
permission to come and do an investigation there a few months ago.
December.
It was either late November or early December.
And I think right off the bat, we saw something interesting getting out of the car
Did we?
on the side of the building. There was.
Oh, the bike.
Like,
So how many was it, like a 6 or 7
it was
person
like
bike?
6.
They had like this 6-person bike,
6 or 7.
bicycle.
yeah.
Like, well, I guess it wouldn't even be a
That
bicycle.
sit in a circle.
You
Yeah,
sit in a
it's in a
circle
circle,
facing
and
each other.
everybody pedals, and like there's one person that could steer the whole thing, and then one person that brakes. But we were trying to convince my dad here to let us ride it.
Just take a
Just
spin around
take a
the
little
block.
joyride.
Because we were like, yeah, between like the 4 of us and Chrissy, we were like, we could get this thing going like 40.
Yeah. But no,
But we
Dad
were
wasn't
not.
allowing it.
It was very hard to
Fun
keep them
sucker.
from doing it. Matter of fact, they were already on it and took it off its stand.
No.
Before I had to say, hey!
Lisa was there too. She told us to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
One of my parents was there, so I couldn't get in trouble.
She's actually the one who's going to stick this bad boy out.
She went with the little head.
And joining us on that investigation for her first time was Christy Wisniewski, a friend of ours, and that was her very first.
I'm sure you'll probably be
investigation.
watching this, so hello.
Eventually, her
Hey.
internet things. She's got satellite internet.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Right. So we don't have Christy. We don't have Chrissy today, who was also there.
Yeah.
And we don't have Trish today. They had other
Yeah.
things going on.
Or Tana.
Or Tana.
Or
Well,
Tana.
Tana's
Well,
here.
Tana's
Tana's
here.
producing today for us.
So we had a pretty good sized crew.
Something important over here, thank you.
We had a pretty good sized crew, but it was a big building.
Yeah, it was.
So
really
did you get anything on our walkthrough or?
on the walkthrough.
I wasn't there for the walkthrough.
No, not
Oh yeah, you guys. Did.
not that I can remember during the walkthrough, but right after that, I was setting up the REM pod in that back hallway where they were getting the cat ball activity.
Yeah.
And you guys were
like
still
a
outside.
rear dining room.
Yeah, you guys were outside on a smoke break, and that thing started going off like almost immediately. And then when you guys were putting up that motion sensor upstairs by the church pew,
Yeah. Oh yeah. We
Oh, and you also had the REM pod going on.
that's what I was just saying.
yeah.
Oh, I thought you said cat.
No, where they had the cat
Yeah.
ball going off.
So in the 3rd floor, they had an old church pew from something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
the
think
first
it
floor
was
used to be a ballroom. They had started sectioning it off for rooms.
Yeah.
It wasn't complete.
But I don't know where the church pew
Props
came
on them
from.
for taking that church pew up 3 floors.
Yeah, because that thing was solid. That was
Solid,
old,
heavy.
solid wood.
Yeah.
So Monk and I were like, well, there's got to be ghosts on this old church pew. So we set a motion detector down on the seat, and it's got a solid back. So only thing that could trigger it is movement on the seat.
Keep in mind it chimes every time we
Yeah.
pick something up.
And so we put it down, and then as we're still walking down the stairs, we got like 5 feet from it. It's like ding dong.
Yeah.
And so we came back up, and we're like,
And we actually got that on camera. You can see that once they get out of frame of the motion detector that's on the pew, it starts going off.
Yeah.
And then even when they come back up, which we thought maybe it was you guys setting it off that way,
Yeah.
it still didn't go
But
off.
No, but
Yeah, the back of the
yeah,
pew
we
was
also
solid.
Exactly.
yeah, we also
Yeah,
tried
we
to
did
walk
everything
through
we
a few
could.
times to try to make
Yeah.
sure it wasn't us
No.
like, setting it off,
No.
but it definitely was
No,
not.
it was, from where you guys were below in the staircase, there was wood that was blocking
Yeah.
it from
Yeah. And we had that on camera. right
yeah.
in there,
And
so-
I think we got that on camera a couple other times too,
Yeah, it
right?
happened
Just
more than
going off like something is moving or sitting down on
Yeah.
the church pew.
We actually got a lot of activity in that third floor. Right?
There was a lot of activity.
Yeah.
We seem to get a lot of activity every time we're setting stuff up. It's almost like they're wanting to check out what we're doing,
Yeah,
or
they're seeing what
what
we're
this
setting up.
gadget is, or yeah.
Yeah. So what did you guys get anything?
We should say on the third floor, it's been used for a lot of things. Like I said, initially it was a ballroom, but later it was a bare knuckle fighting arena.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff happened up there, a lot of emotion, all this stuff. And they saw repeatedly, this is the owners talking and the relatives and other witnesses, saw a man up on that floor with a plaid shirt and like an overall thing.
You want to talk about the cat?
Oh,
Oh, that was weird.
so one of the stories about the place is the owners, when they were coming into town, they live about 7 hours away, came in to do some work on that third floor. They had a new kitten, and they didn't want to leave the kitten home alone, so they brought it with them. As they were working on the place, the kitten got into one of the walls. They couldn't get the cat out. They knew they were coming back in a week, so they had the caretaker of the inn watch out for the cat. Well, when they came back, the cat was hairless and crazy. I mean, just attacking, going crazy. What was that?
the turtle.
I'll tell you, we got the ghost already.
I wasn't gonna say anything because I was gonna try to figure out how to put something up there. So
Wait,
we'll all
no,
look
guys,
and it'll
she's
be-
That Ghostbusters thing.
Anyway, the cat was crazy. They took it to the vet. The vet said that it was from abuse.
Torture, I thought you said, right?
Torture. Yeah, he said the cat had been tortured. The caretaker said, it was just me and him. Nothing happened here. But they supposedly have a lot of people there, including guests that stay there, see this little boy. I forget what they call the boy. Oh, George, I think it was. Who plays in there. Apparently, this boy did not like cats when he was alive. Hated them for some reason. So the idea was that they think that the boy was
messed up in the head.
tormenting the cat.
Which makes sense.
The boy's also seen a lot in the kitchen and the hall to that dining room where they were talking. It goes to the rear dining room, riding an old-fashioned scooter. So, it's another common claim.
An old-fashioned bike.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, pretty early on, and the Chris's are not here with us today, like Shane said. Christy is probably working this weekend, and Chrissy is sick. Hope you feel better, Chrissy. She's soon watching.
If she
might know
knows that
something.
we were
no
live,
idea.
I don't think we told her.
But they got pretty early on. They went into the back dining room where you had the RIM pod going on with a K2 meter and one of the spirit balls on the table, which is like motion activated and it'll light up. And they got about 30 minutes straight of asking questions and getting this entity to respond by either lighting up the cat ball or spiking the
Sometimes both.
K2. Yeah, sometimes both at the same time.
Yeah.
and they thought it was a younger man, not a kid, but I think in his 20s, and named Bill.
Sounds right.
And like he was very receptive, seemed very curious about the equipment, and then of course I think we came back and ruined it anyway. But
There was
but later, I think somebody else got a William coming through on the spirit box.
me on the pew.
And I
Yeah.
had got.
Oh, you gotta
I
wave
had
your
gotten
hand.
a
You
William
guys!
when I was doing the ride session too. It wasn't
Okay.
a Bill, but I had gotten a William, but I hadn't told anybody any of that stuff. And it
Mhm.
wasn't until afterwards when you guys were all talking about it, saying that there was a Bill or a William that had came through, and I was just like, "Whoa, that's
Yeah.
awesome."
On
Yeah,
the
'cause
spirit
I made
box,
the
you
joke.
got
I was
the
like, I
William.
think I heard Billiam, and I was like, well, that don't make sense.
Yeah.
You know.
And we got on the spirit box some interesting, like young guy. Not most people when they think of ghosts, they think of like Civil War era or before. And we were getting spirit box answers that were much more contemporary.
Yeah.
Like I think you made a joke like, oh, because most of us are smokers because we're bad people.
Yeah.
And not monkey. And I think we were going outside, and you were made some kind of joke about like blazing it up out there.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
whoever on the
yeah,
spirit
yeah.
box heard like a young guy said,
Say,
"Let's
"Doobie."
go."
Or,
Yeah.
Yeah, and they were like, I think,
That's right, yeah.
and then like he got a little.
That was Christy, I think, on the spirit
Yeah.
box. That's why we were like, is she
Yeah.
gonna,
And then he like teased us a little bit. Like Tana was going downstairs, and he's like, "Well, then leave." You know,
Yeah.
and like Christy's on the spirit box, she's blindfolded, headphones. She has no idea Tana's leaving, and he's like not mean, but like a younger person, like joking.
Yeah.
Yeah. We also kept getting through like what sounded like people arguing. Remember,
Oh, in
there was
the
like there was that
background,
girl
yeah.
in the background. She just said, "Screw it, I gave up" or something
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
no, she said.
Yeah.
And like she also sounded young and
Yeah.
contemporary, not like because we kept hearing her like distant,
Yeah.
and then she'd start to say something, and somebody else would talk over her.
Yeah.
And eventually, just real clear, this young, like early 20s female voice says, "Well,
After that, yeah.
Like,
screw it type of thing.
oh,
All right, then.
okay."
We should note too that this was originally it was a large house by a prominent family, and that's why the third
Large
floor
is
was
an understatement.
a ballroom. It was a Victorian house. For some reason, several people in that family went to the nearby river or the falls and killed themselves.
Yeah,
And
at different
and
times.
different generations of these family members did that. Also, at least two other occasions, I guess they had guests who committed suicide there.
Yeah.
So there was some definite negativity
Yeah.
there. One of the people that may speak in a more modern vernacular was the caretaker that was there that died in 2016.
Yeah,
So that could have been also somebody.
Yeah,
and he was a smoker, so maybe that was somebody who was responding about
that's
the smoke.
true.
Yeah.
Could be.
Didn't when we walked down to that field, right? Didn't something happen there? Or am I just thinking that? It was me, you, Tana, Monk,
I
and
know
Chrissy.
it took
Yeah, we took the walk down because there was supposed to be a Oh no, we were trying to find where the people had committed suicide, and I think there was supposed to be a
Yeah.
cemetery too,
Yeah.
right? But we couldn't find. We did hear something because
Sorry, I'm getting over a cold.
yeah, me too. If you hear me hacking, because we went. I remember we walked into the field. We were looking around a tree for something. I think
Something,
we heard
yeah.
something over there, and it's like an open field, but we couldn't find any source of
And
it.
we also saw a couple burn pits, like one right on the edge of the road, one right by that
Yeah,
tree.
like small little burn pits.
Just yeah.
I think we should say too, the river is about less than 75 yards from the inn.
Yeah.
Down the backside, right?
Yeah, we didn't
So it makes sense too that more activity by a water source could possibly happen.
On another note, though, when we were in the attic, all of us, it was like me, you, Tina, Chrissy, Monkey, whoever. When we first got up there, I noticed something, what looked like something dart across the door in the back far room to the side behind the stairs. And then later
so
on,
this side of the. Later on,
what?
Sheila says hello, by the way.
Hello.
Sheila.
Hi, Sheila.
So Hunter sees something moving in this room here.
And
And
then-
then we're up there, and Tana and I see
In the
something
next
moving in
room.
the next room over.
Yeah.
So I went in to see if I could get any readings or anything. And Tana was watching. And so I leaned down, and I'm getting ready to look under the bed, and Tana's like, something's moving behind you right now. And I was like, okay, please don't grab me from under the bed. And I think you were like, if something sucks you under, I'll come get you, buddy.
Just because I'll
from the
forget.
other room.
Remember, I was on the spirit box, and you and Chrissy were in there, and there was something about me. I kept hearing telling Chrissy, something with Chrissy was like,
Get on the bed.
to get on the bed or to move or to stop or something like that. I don't remember what exactly it was.
Oh, well, those were two different things. Because you were on the spirit box, and you said, come here or something
Yeah.
like that. So she went to this room, and she was like, here, and you're like, no, move. And got her into
Yeah.
that room where Tan and I had saw the shadows. And then she was like, well, what do you want me to see in here? And you were like, lay down or something like that. And she was like,
Oh yeah, I was
I'm
up
not
there
going
when
to
you
lay
guys
down on
Yeah.
this nasty ass mattress. But then she did,
Yeah.
you know, and then she was like,
Oh, Chrissy's watching.
then she told me to sit down because I was in there with the K2 meter that was going nuts.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, sit on the bed, sit down.
Keep in mind, I'm blindfolded
Yeah.
and not looking at them the whole time. And
I think when
headphones
Do you
on.
guys remember what room number this was?
it was
It was in the
On
third,
the third
floor.
floor.
They didn't have
Oh,
room numbers.
okay.
like the pew is here, it's the room.
So
beside
the
it,
yeah.
room where we did
For you guys that can't see, she's got these little toy baby hand things that she's
Yeah,
where we did
where
the
you did
mirror
this.
scribe. It was the room right
right
next
beside
door.
that one.
Oh, okay.
And so I sat on the bed, and that's when you heard move.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, all right, I didn't want to sit in your nasty bed anyway.
It just wanted Chrissy to.
But then he also tried to get you to move on
Yeah.
the couch.
Yeah,
too,
that
at
was
one
the
point.
comfiest damn couch I ever sat
And,
on.
oh man, these they were old, but they were you sit in them
Yeah, you
and they're
sink in. Oh,
Yeah, they were nice.
they were nice.
want to get up.
But yeah, Chrissy was on the spirit box. She was on one side, so if we're looking at us, it'd be Chrissy, open space, and then Monkey here. Chrissy kept telling the K2 she had in the middle.
Yeah,
cushion.
she set the K2 on the cushion and
Yeah.
it redlined and held it.
Yeah.
Right.
And then she kept saying she heard move or something like that, and
And I think you were like me, and it was like,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. And then Monkey
I was
was
like, okay.
going to get up, and I was like, stay there, don't listen to it, And
Let's just move
he was just
forward.
trying to be nice,
Yeah.
be polite, but I was like,
I was like, there's a whole seat for you.
yeah. He just wants the women. Because wasn't
Like
Tana
most
sitting
places-
right here beside you on the other couch?
Yeah.
So he
most-
just wanted to
most
be
places
between the
we
two
go
women.
to seems that way.
Yeah.
Didn't Tana hear some kid talking or something in the second floor?
I thought somebody heard a little girl. on
Yeah,
the second
Tana
floor.
heard. It'd be helpful if she was over here.
Yeah.
Tana's like, I can't hear you. Room silent.
Come to
I
the
can't
other
hear you.
side.
And I
Come
believe
to
it
the
was at
light.
7, which we had other
Yeah.
things happen, and Lisa ended up doing a ride.
That was the
session
one
there.
when you and I were looking through, and because we were just looking for hot spots, and I went in and I was like, "Ooh, this room feels weird." And then Shaney came in and he's like, "Yeah, this room
Which
does
one
feel
was it?
weird." Like the one we
Room
put
7.
the camera in and stuff on the second floor.
Also, the owner's sister, Jonah's sister, sleeps in that room every time she comes to visit. That same room. She says every morning at 4 o'clock in the morning, there's a spirit of an older woman that wakes her up and gets her to start moving out, doing her stuff for the day. 4 o'clock in the morning, every single day.
Yeah, you've been here long enough.
Yeah.
Scoot and boogie.
And we heard, some weird. It was a creepy feeling in that room for whatever
Oh,
reason.
in room 7?
Yeah.
Apparently they've had lots of other people talk about room 7, and almost all of it is seeing an older woman. Lisa got somebody's name in there too. Rod.
No, it wasn't in room 7. It was in room 4. It was before that. It was me and Trish. We were doing a rod session, and I had to say that my mom came through again, and I had to tell her to stop interrupting.
Mom, I'm trying to do stuff.
Yeah, but
Don't
I'm
stop.
trying to think, and I don't think Trisha's probably even know that we're on here. Can't remember what the names were, but after we were done in room 4, the rods made us go into room 7. And then when we got in there, I think you came in afterwards.
Yeah,
With all that energy that was in there, like head to toe, I was like tingling.
That's the room that she
Well,
heard.
it's like what you were saying. It was a creepy feel in that room.
Well, I didn't feel anything creepy. I just had like tinglies.
And by the way, room 4, where they came from, was actually where the caretaker passed away.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna save that story till the end.
Well, we're going to tell that story.
Yeah, because that's pretty good.
Was that the room that she heard my name through the spirit box and you said you wanted me to come down on?
Yeah, for some reason she said Hunter.
Which
So
is
I went
weird because
and
at the
got you.
same time,
And
right above you guys, I was on the spirit box.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was actually on.
Yeah,
it.
that's yeah.
Yeah. So like you
When
wanted
we were
us to
in,
switch.
she was doing the ride session. We saw this big flashing light. So I ran out of the room to see if anybody's going around the corner. Nobody was around. And we heard what sounded like banging of furniture right beside the room. And because at this time I'm sitting on the floor, I just lean right out. There's nobody either direction.
Yeah.
Not sure what it was, but
But
it's
I was
kind of
gonna
cool.
say too, we were in what room? we were.
It's hard to take you seriously.
Thanks, Natalie.
It's left hands, guy.
We were in, was either room 23 or room 24, and we were doing a spirit box, and I kept saying the word 7
Oh,
over
yeah,
and over,
7
and I'm
over
like,
a lot.
I don't know why I keep saying.
And that's
It's just
why
like
they
7,
ended up in room
7.
That makes sense.
And
Just
it
telling
just-
you to go there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it said it over and over. So I said, well, let's go to room 7. Room 23 on the second floor had some hot spots too. I was in there by myself. I was getting some K2 readings. And then for whatever reason, I said, if you can, manifest in some way, maybe you can turn that light off. And then we had a light in there, and the light flickered on and off. So I got to do that 3 or 4 times. Just to be a skeptic, I had Hunter come and check to make sure that there was no issues and replace the light.
I'm just that guy.
He leaves, and I still got him to do the light. But it was a fresh, different light. Not to do the light, And then Hunter had an incident in that room too.
Yeah, I was checking the balcony in that room, and I heard footsteps.
Why did you say it?
Because I can't say what I.
All right, he was using the bathroom in that room.
Oh,
Listen, we weren't.
I was about to say, were you pooping on a
No,
balcony?
But so these rear rooms did have balconies.
We weren't supposed to be using the bathroom, but I didn't know where the closest one was. I was like, no, I'm in this one. It's got one. So, so I'm going to the bathroom, not pooping, and I hear footsteps, or what I thought was footsteps, because it was like a really odd sound. So I ended up calling Dad in there and
Into the bathroom?
into the room,
Yeah, sure.
and I had him go into the bathroom while I was walking outside to see if I could
he could hear
he
you.
heard the exact same noise that I did.
Right. To
So-
see if for some reason that bathroom actually had a lift up. It had a
Like
a
step up
secondary
Yeah.
floor built in it. I'm not sure why. Maybe
Keep in
plumbing
mind,
issues.
I was on the second floor, and this building is long.
Yeah,
like
it's
it's a
very
good
big.
200 feet long. And I was in the furthest room in the furthest end of the building, and I was only in there by myself. So something either was just checking me out, seeing what I was doing, obviously.
Checking you out, assessing the situation.
Yeah, comparing.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
Did you hear laughter after that?
He's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Runs away.
Would those rooms be
Stop with the
considered?
hands.
Would those rooms be considered the back of the hotel then?
Yes.
And
Room
that's where
23
across
and,
the street
24.
was where the river was.
Actually,
Right.
Okay, because
23, 24, and then 21 and 19 are under
the stairs went up.
Where
so
the tenant or
the
the
wife
caretaker.
of the lady that came through on the rods, her husband, the William guy, the one that committed suicide, she had me come all the way down the hall into that room, had me go out on the balcony, and then was pointing
towards the river.
to the
Yeah, I
river,
remember
and that's
that.
where I found out that her husband committed suicide was down at that river.
And in room 24, that balcony you went off on, that chair several people that have stayed there, including some of the older peoples, see an old man sitting in that chair line. Yeah. There's like a leather lounger in there.
Also on the second floor, I had almost forgotten. Towards the end of the night, now, like I said, it was Christy, her first investigation.
Yeah.
And she was a little nervous going.
Mm-hmm.
But once, like, a
Hey,
few
she
minutes
toughened
in,
it out.
well, once they got that cap all and stuff, she was
Yeah.
all, like, excited.
Yeah.
And, like, revved up, like, you know, and she was up going off by herself, you know, a few times, and, like, yeah, so I was like, oh, good. Like,
Yeah.
she got over, wasn't skittish anymore. Towards the end, and she had done the spirit box, what, 5-6 times when we were there?
Yeah.
You know,
Every time.
she did it in the attic, like, but right before we started packing up, Christy, and I were on the second floor, like in the room, like there was a room kind of behind the stairs almost, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We were in there doing the spirit box. Christy was. And so she's got the headphones on, and she was like, I don't want to use the platform. You know, and we were like, okay. You know, like she just started getting, and so she's listening, and she keeps like looking like at the hall.
Yeah.
Like, and we're like,
What was
so
going
she's
on?
like, I feel like, she's like, it's just my imagination. It's just my imagination. You know, and I'm like, no, you're feeling like, she keeps
Trust
feeling
your
like,
gut, yeah.
feeling like there's something moving.
Like
in
we
the
said
hallway.
before, your body is the best tool.
Yeah.
Trust your body.
So
Yeah,
she
but
puts them.
it's her first investigation.
That's true.
She wasn't
Yeah,
doing
well, she was fine earlier.
that. Yeah.
And she was fine in the attic
started
when
getting
stuff
kinda-
was legitimately moving around.
Yeah.
But whatever was downstairs was not comfortable feeling.
Yeah.
So she puts them back on and she's listening. And where Chrissy and I are asking questions, I wish I could remember better, but I'm blanking today. But she directed me out into like the hallway there. And I was like, is there something here? And Christy is closing her eyes. She just wasn't comfortable not being able to open them if something, because she was feeling, I think, like something was gonna
Right.
get her. And she starts saying, can you see me? And I'm like, where are you? And he's like, over here, left. You know, so I was like, okay. So I went into that room, like when you come up the stairs, that room there.
Yeah.
I think it was.
Yeah.
And I'm standing there, and I'm like, you know, like I said, she can't hear me at all.
At all.
You know, because now I'm far away. I was like, okay, I'm here. And it said, can you see me? I'm here. And I said, where are you? And it said, up. Look up. Can you see me? I'm right
remember
here.
yeah.
And I'm like, and so Trish earlier had told us that her friend, the caretaker, used to say while he's laying down, a man would crawl out of his ceiling stiles and watch him when he
That
sleeps.
was-
Yeah.
And so I'm
My
like,
guy's best friend used to
you
say,
know, and I'm saying to Chrissy, I'm like, Chrissy, if a dude comes out this ceiling, like, just so you know, like, I'm going down these stairs. Like, good luck to you guys. You know, so I'm looking up, and it just keeps saying, can you see me? Up. Can you see me? And I was like, no, I can't see you. And I'm directly under you two, Jackanapes, who were doing something upstairs that you guys might want to talk about.
We
It was
tried something different.
at
for
the
first
same time they were doing the
Scribe thing.
yeah.
All right. We
You
decided
were
to
with
try
her.
Scribe.
He made me.
And I had tried it earlier when I was on the third floor in the back room to the left, and I did start hearing footsteps walking up and down the hardwood floors to the point where I thought it was one of them, and I went out and looked on the third floor. Nobody was there. And then I heard like a man's voice lightly up there. Later, when he was talking about that, what happened with him, Lisa was in the far right room on the third floor, and she was trying her first attempt at scrying. And one, she was getting like a dog walking on the floors, which was weird. You know, like
Yeah, like a little tiny animal. I could hear like the little
yeah.
pop.
But you saw a man, right?
I
Or
didn't.
a figure.
I think I saw something because I had asked them if there was somebody out there because I thought I saw somebody
Like
standing
standing
in the doorway.
Which
Yeah,
is
which
weird.
is the same doorway
We
I'm
all saw.
in. No, at the exact same time, Chrissy's hearing, "Can you see me?"
Yeah.
Up. I'm in the doorway under
Right
that
under
doorway.
there.
Below
Yeah.
it.
Like,
And by the way, from
directly
my
under
angle,
where she's
where I
seeing
was
the man.
Yeah.
videotaping Lisa, I'm also going to look out the door and I can see if anybody comes up the steps.
Mm-hmm.
So there was nobody else on the third floor at that time.
Yeah.
So,
I think
directly
Chrissy
below.
was getting what Lisa was seeing.
Yep.
And was talking like, and that's why it's saying, "Can you see me?" But we're hearing it downstairs.
Yep.
You know. It's,
Which we've had that happen in other
Yeah.
investigations before. So,
I have to say too that when she was doing that, I got real cold in that room, and that kind of threw me off.
Oh,
'Cause
and you
the
saw
heat was
something.
high.
that's what I was getting
Yeah.
at. When we were in the attic, it was later on. We were up in the attic a lot. We were getting a lot of
We had
activity,
a
so
lot
we
of
just kept going
activity
back up
there,
there.
yeah.
Excuse me. So I was sitting on the opposite. So that couch that they were seeing all the shadows on earlier, I was sitting on the opposite wall against the TV stand on the floor. And there's a hallway that goes down this way, which none of us talked about because there's nothing really happened there in that third floor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
till now.
But
Um,
you came over there because we kept hearing something rattle.
Tana did.
Yeah.
It was sound like, you said it was like change or something in like a container
Yeah.
rattling or something.
Yeah, like in a tin.
Yeah. So we went over there. And, I had K2 on me. I was doing the spirit box session. Was that before or after I saw this thing? I think it was after I was doing that.
Maybe.
Either way, we ended up putting a laser grid facing that hallway, that green one, and for whatever reason, I happened to look over to my right, clear as day, like the most clear apparition I've ever seen in my life. Walks from literally the one bedroom straight across 2 strides, all black, tall, skinny figure. You can see the blouses on his pants and everything, and then just disappeared behind, blocked out that reflection off that mirror picture at the end of the hallway, and then just went into the room. Went over there, followed it, and it was gone.
Which
Yeah.
room did it go in?
The furthest, so
On
when you're
the
on
left.
the 3rd floor, the furthest room
Where
to
I
the left.
was, and I heard the footsteps,
Yeah, probably.
and then the men talking across the
Maybe.
hall.
And then it tried to get later, I think Tana was on the spirit box, I think. And it was trying to get Chrissy to go in that room.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because and it's kind of cool. We watched that video too, because it's Tana blindfolded and with the headphones on is giving Chrissy exact direction. Chrissy's like, "Well, where do you want me to go?" And it's like left. So she starts going left, and then there's 2 rooms. She goes towards one, and it says, "Stop, turn around, this one," or something like, and it's
I
like,
was trying to get her to go in.
yeah. And then Chrissy's like, "Well, I'm looking. What do you want me to do?" And it's like, "Come in, help me." And Chrissy's like, "You know what? I don't think I want to go in there." But like she starts to,
Yeah.
but then she's like, no.
Started questioning it.
And it's like, said something about "let me out" or "can you help" or
I
something
think
like.
it just kept saying "help me."
Yeah, like it just keeps trying to get her to come in, and she's like, "I ain't coming in. Like, I'll help you from here." Because it was after you saw the man
Yeah,
walk in
yeah.
there,
Yeah.
and she was like, she just felt like off
Something's
about
off,
going in.
yeah.
Yeah. But it was too insistent on wanting her
It
in
was.
there.
It made
Yeah.
her suspicious, and
Yeah.
she was by herself.
That's another thing. You can't trust those things that are like too insistent on you do something. Like that thing in the mimic house with me.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
bad feeling.
Like it's
You know?
one thing if it's like, "Oh, can you help me?" But it's like, "No, help now, in here,
It's-
right now."
well, that's another
You know,
thing,
Like in those situations, it's why it's important to always have at least a couple people.
Because like in that
Yeah.
situation, if that thing was strong enough to make those kind of bangs that hard and to mimic people and to do all these other things, who knows what it could have actually had
Yeah.
potential to do.
And I mean, it's dark. There was also like ladders in there and like tools and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah.
Probably should talk about room 21.
Yeah. Well, did you
That's
guys
the
see
room I
anything
thought
else?
it was. The one I heard the footsteps in.
Not
That
really.
one
There
in the
was
back left in the 2nd floor?
No, that's 23.
Oh.
He's talking about the caretaker room.
really it was like all those cameras they had set up because they were from
Long Island.
Long
yeah.
Island, so they had a bunch of cameras set up. That seemed like they track motion when we walked by them. At first, it threw us off because it was really weird.
Yeah.
Like,
We
that
just
guy
walked by, yeah, and they all starts
Cameras
following you.
everywhere in there.
And at one point, I had a camera in that back of that dining room. We walked up, and the camera started following me. I was like, "Oh my god, what's that?"
Yeah.
They were looking, but it would it would turn just towards the wall, and like it was like following something.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
they track the motion, so if
Yeah.
you walk through, the camera would follow you. But then, we're sitting there talking,
Yeah.
like the camera like tracks motion onto the wall.
See, what I suspect was that whoever it was watching us had like, you know, like a lot of they have the monitor rooms
Yeah.
where they got all the cameras
Yeah,
on display.
but why would she be turning it?
Yeah,
face
why
the
would she
wall?
turn it face the
To
wall?
make
Yeah.
it seem like they're not,
I don't
like
think
she's
so.
not
No,
controlling.
I think
it
they
was
track
detecting motion.
Yeah.
She could
I
control
mean, that's
them.
possible, but I thought maybe, you
Yeah.
know, say she was controlling them, like if she realized we were catching on,
No.
she tried to
I-
throw us off
I-
by
with
making
those
sure.
systems,
systems you can control one, you know. but
Yeah.
They're all motion activated. The ones
I know,
she had
I was
is-
just saying, what if she
Speaking
was
of the
controlling
cameras
them?
too, I almost forgot. That scared the crap out of Christy early on, because we were outside.
Oh, yeah.
We were looking for the caretaker's place, and the old caretaker who passed away stayed in like a room that's accessible from the outside of the building. But the new caretaker also stays in a room accessed from the outside of the building.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, both in the rear building on the first
So
floor.
we're walking around looking for the room of the old caretaker, and we were near the new caretaker's door. So the owner saw, because it's still early on,
Yeah.
saw us and talked through the camera. And Christy was by herself and didn't know that she could talk through the camera.
Well, yeah, it was one
And
of
so
those ring
Christy's just in
doorbells.
the room by herself, and here's this old woman say, "Tell them they can't go in that one." And Christy's like, "What?"
Yeah. It was one of those like ring doorbell cameras so that you can notify,
Yeah.
you know, and it just, she wasn't expecting
Yeah,
it, you know.
but Christy also, so there's an old bar in there that a couple people thought they heard sounds coming.
Yep.
A really cool bar. That
Yeah.
was really.
A lot of old antiques in there.
Christy and Chrissy also heard a woman say hello to them, like clear. They thought it was Lisa or Trish. And so they said, "Yeah, we're in here." And they didn't answer, so then they radioed Lisa and Trish are the caretaker's offshoot.
Yeah.
You know. But Christy, while they're doing the catwalk, keeps feeling this air coming through. And she was telling me about it. She's like, ah. And then we were in the bar, and Christy was looking at it, and then she leaves, and she comes back through, and she's like, "Oh, that air I was feeling is a fan. There's a fan in the hallway. It just blew on me real hard." And when I was like,
There's no
"There's
fan.
no fan out there," and she's like, "No, like it blew my hair. There's a, you know." So we come out with the flashlights, and I'm like, that, and she goes, "What the?" You know, it's like she felt this strong gut, so strong it like blew her hair,
Yeah.
and the
She just
ice
assumed it
machine
was
is
like a
there,
fan.
so she was like, "Oh, it's a fan." 'Cause
Yeah.
she heard that, you know, the machine, the
Yeah.
motor, but no, just something just
No.
blew right.
I had a
By
similar thing too that I just remembered when you were talking about that. Lisa and I were in the kitchen. She was doing a rod session, and we were trying to get some activity. And the kitchen has this little room that goes into like a laundry room and storage and stuff like that. I'm sitting here, and I keep feeling this gusts of air blowing on me pretty hard. So I'm looking all over the place to try to find the source. Looking through the curtains. There's no air flow through there at all. But I was kept feeling constant,
Yeah.
you know. I didn't really put that together, you know, because that's only, 20 feet from where she felt it.
Yeah.
So maybe there's something else going on there. We were in there trying to get a hold of the little boy who was supposedly seen there a lot, and some guy, you know, some other guy in there.
Yeah.
Also very odd, they had a huge movie collection that Monkey
Oh,
and I
yeah.
were looking through. And they had like 4 copies each of like Fellowship of the Ring and Two Towers, but like no Return.
Yeah, no return.
For those watching, feel free to ask questions. I forgot to say that earlier.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, please interact with us. We're sorry that we didn't
We're
give you
stuck
advance
for
notice
attention.
that we're doing this live.
usually we put it out, but the last minute we decided to.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we will put a version of this on YouTube next Friday, hopefully.
But so do you want to get into the
Okay.
super cool stuff?
I should say too.
that wasn't the super cool stuff?
It's all super cool.
Not the
Anyway,
caretaker stuff.
Oh, duh. Blanking out.
when we do an investigation, we try not to get too much of the paranormal stories. We really focus on the history so we can have an idea who we're talking about or talking to and maybe interacting with. And in this case, you just, the owner would not, she just told me certain things. She told me about the caretaker passing away in there. I thought she said it was room 21. So that was my mindset when Lisa and I and Trish did a rod session and a little bit of investigation in room 21. Trish also had on the phone the best friend of the male, the guy that died. At that time, we didn't realize his name. I don't think was Louis. She got that on her rods. Turns out everybody called him Lou. And she had a historian also on the phone. So we were trying to validate what, because anytime we do a rod session, this was the single most impressive rod session, I think, that I've been a part of. Because I'm a skeptical
In terms
person.
of proving.
And we had first-hand accounts to like she
Back it up, yeah.
As she was doing the rods, they could say, okay, is there, like you said, you got Lou, so they were like, oh, do you know Lou? Yeah, that was the name of the caretaker.
Well, she got Louis.
Yeah.
Louis. They call him Lou.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what happened with my conversation with the owners after the fact, because we did a little follow-up. You want to tell us what you got in there?
Well, the first thing, I think you asked if he died in there, right?
Yeah. I mean, most of the times, because the rods, they won't, for some reason, they won't answer other people.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, you'll ask a question and I'll have to repeat it. So, most of the questions I don't remember what you asked. That's why I was like, So, I don't know, maybe you can do that because
some of
I don't remember.
the stories about that is the hangers will clink together.
Which they did.
Which they did do, and we tried to
just remember
figure out why that was. If there's an air leak by the door or whatever, we couldn't figure out exactly why.
Real quick, speaking of those hangers, remember that room that I heard the footsteps?
Oh.
No. Remember we were looking at them, and the hangers were literally just swinging by themselves.
Right, which is
and not just a little bit, like they were, like someone just
directly above
smacked
this
them.
apartment.
Yeah, and they were just like, and like I said, not like a wind just did this. Like they were
We did that in that room.
really
We were
going.
down there.
Yeah, in 21 when we were down there. The hangers
room 21, and it's more like an apartment than just a hotel.
Yeah. But I think from the video, if I remember correctly, first, I think it was you asked. You said something about like you. I think you were asking if did you die in the chair or like on the bed?
Because I was
And
under the impression he died in that room.
I know, and it's like no.
Lisa stood.
No.
She's like, nope.
And then I think Lisa said, well, where did you die? And it points to the window. Like outside, like not in here.
Well, no, it pointed towards the hotel.
Yeah.
She's asked, well, you died in the hotel? He said, yes. And I'm thinking, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, because you kept saying, no, you
Right.
died in the room, but
Yeah.
you kept saying that he didn't.
Because that's what I thought it was
And it
called.
turned out he died in room 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He actually slept in room 4. He spent all his time in 21 because he had cable TV in that room, only place in the building, and he could smoke off the porch.
Yeah.
Now, what else he said was that he was in a fight, and we'll just say it this way.
Someone close to the hotel.
Yeah, somebody close to the hotel. I was trying to remember what we decided on. 2 months prior to his passing. I hadn't heard any of this, of course, before this.
No, you had asked the owners how he died, and she said, I don't want to talk about
Well, no,
Yeah.
she said he died of a heart attack, and then I asked for more information. She said, I don't want to talk about it.
Well, no, didn't we ask that if he wanted to go to the hospital, you said no or something like that, or was that?
Wait, we have a copy
it.
here.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was asking if it was part of that or not.
So anyway, that's what I was aware of. That he just died of a heart attack. I thought room 21.
Yeah.
Lisa's rods. He says that he was in a fight, a fist fight, with somebody close to the hotel.
Yeah.
That's our code.
I think first she asked, because you were confirming, I think she said, so you died of natural causes, and I said no.
Yeah.
He said he was murdered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Lisa said, did somebody hurt you? And it says yes.
Yeah.
And she was, and then you guys were like,
Wait a
and
minute.
so I think it was after that, Trish is sitting there, and Trish texts her friend, and she goes, did something happen to Lou? And the friend wrote back, Lou's friend,
Right.
and said, "I don't like to talk about that." And so then they're all like,
Right, and this is the second time now we've heard something.
"Yeah." And so then I think Lisa asked, "Did somebody kill you? Did somebody hurt you?" And it says, "Yes." And so Trish said, "Did somebody hurt him?" And the friend writes back and says, "How did you know?" And so then they narrowed it down to this a certain person close to the hotel, the fight, and he just died of his injuries, right?
Well,
Like a
the
blood pressure or
official
something.
cause is a coronary incident, which means your heart stopped.
Yeah.
That's all it means. When she was getting more things, he said he got in a fight with this person, and 2 months later he succumbed finally to his injuries because
he was an old man.
Nobody took him to the hospital. Nobody reported it to the police. He went and laid in bed in room 4 for 2 months until he died. Yeah. And I was like, oh, this is not even close to what I heard. You know.
Yeah.
Then Trish is messaging this guy, who supposedly was best friends with this Lou,
Yeah.
and he said yes.
Yeah, that's
And
what happened.
Lou
Yeah.
apparently confided directly in him, and with only him, that's what happened. Later, when I talked to the owners, they said they confirmed that he was
in a fight,
with somebody close to the
hotel.
hotel. But they said, well, that wasn't what killed him. He died of a coronary incident.
Yeah.
But not according to the. So she got a lot of stuff where he was actually killed. All this other stuff I had no idea until we confirmed about it later with 2 sources.
Stuff that actually
This
went
was-
against
yeah.
the information.
This
that
was
they
the
told.
incident with the rods that made me kind of start to question and maybe believe
You
in
never
them a
know who's
little
coming
more.
through on these rods or what,
Yeah.
you know. But in this case, it was really odd.
Yeah.
And it taught us a lot. And it gave us an avenue to do more research to see what else was going on.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it was a suspicious death at the very least.
Yeah.
Yes, grandmother.
Was it 2 months or was it less time?
I thought
It was around
2
months.
2 whole months, wasn't
Yeah.
it?
Not
2 months.
2 full months. It was around 2 months. they
Yeah.
said.
Yeah.
He said, around 2 months.
I have a question. It's kind of not on what you're talking about right now, but Brandy wants to know if you can connect her to her dad and give her a message.
Who? What's it all have?
Somebody named Brandy.
If we could give her dad a message?
Yeah,
No,
we don't.
connect her to her dad and give her a message from him.
No, we
Well,
don't really do mediumship
We're not. We don't. Yeah, we don't
stuff.
psychic stuff. She's connected to her father. I mean, that's already a connection that she
Yeah.
can make. All she has to do is make the.
Has to reach out.
The. What's the word I'm looking for? The intent.
Yeah, like
And she can certainly do that for herself. Now, if she has some questions, certainly feel free to message me and we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
but yeah, we don't do any like
You
mediumship kind of stuff.
Yeah.
We don't.
Really?
We don't.
Yeah.
We don't do seances, or we don't. We're not going to go to somebody else's residence and then bring something that didn't exist into that place.
Yeah.
And we're not obnoxious enough. No offense to the other people that do it, to assume that we know everything that's coming in there and how to control it.
Right.
Those kinds of things are dangerous. And so when we, with native things, we, that's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
We keep that
Yeah.
controlled and quiet.
Yes, like Jamie's saying, we try to not even really go into that because we don't.
We also
have
don't
the
want to
same
cross a
training and
boundary
stuff.
either.
Yeah,
And it's not
don't
even just
know
about training. It's what the risk. There's a lot. Anybody that says that they're an expert in this field, there's no such thing. There's a lot on the other side. I mean, we might have some experience. We're learning things as we go, but nothing is a definite because we don't have access to until we're on the other side to really be able to validate anything. And even then, you're just one of us swimming in a whole world of people, right?
Yeah.
So we don't go out looking for that stuff. If somebody says, I really, really, really need help, something's really going on, we'll try to do what we can, but only in emergency situations.
Brady, if you're still watching, you want to look into this further, you can look at the link in our bio. and message us directly on our Spirit Hunters page, whether it be Facebook or TikTok, YouTube, whatever you want to do.
Right. And
Go
we
ahead and
have
check that out.
Linktree that'll show you all our links too.
Yeah.
But certainly you can private message me and I'll respond to you.
Shane, by the way, that's Shane.
Shane. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all over Facebook, so
Yeah, yeah. And I think a lot of, especially with like native beliefs and well, everybody's, I think, like Shane said, excuse me, you know, I have no idea what time it is.
no, I've seen how long.
I don't know. I didn't
We've
start-
been I forgot.
53.
It's almost an hour.
Yeah.
We started.
Yeah.
We started.
Yeah.
You know, like if for as far as getting in touch with a loved one or something like that, you know, maybe depending on your religion or belief system, you know, like just find like some quiet time, you know,
Yeah.
to yourself and reflect and focus on them and stuff like that, I suppose.
Yeah.
Just have an open mind. Eventually, they'll come to you.
Yeah. Now,
With
well,
intent,
maybe I shouldn't say, but
with
don't
intent and faith, we're all capable of a lot of great things.
say. Just be careful. Don't get like too
We don't
desperate.
we don't trust in things like Ouija boards
boards,
and stuff like that,
seances,
because you
don't-
never, like Shane was saying, you never know what's coming through.
Yeah, you be whatever whoever you're talking to could be pretending to be your
Yeah.
father, you know,
Yeah.
and not actually be who
But
he
no,
is.
And if it's something negative, they're going to prey on those.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but
Yeah.
quiet,
Your
almost
vulnerabilities.
meditative time. I feel
Yeah,
like
just sit in your
helps,
room at night,
You
just
know,
relax and see.
even if it's not anything supernatural, like you know, if there's a loved one that you've lost, that also helps in the healing process.
yeah, well, just
It's
having a
like
connection.
taking some time for some reflection and some, you know.
With me too, I know when I'm trying to, reach out to lost loved ones, I'll do a specific thing,
Mhm.
something, whether it was my dad. Sometimes I'll sing a native song, a specific one that I, really reminds me of him. With specific
Oogie
intent, you can do and reach out and make that connection, I think, a little stronger.
Yeah.
Actually, the song you was probably talking about. He sings
No,
that.
I was thinking of another one, but Hoagie Ogie corrects me.
Yeah.
We heard that.
Hoagie
Oh,
Ogie.
wow.
Yeah.
We got any other questions from the interwebs?
No, that was the only one.
Nope. Yeah,
I did
TikTok
want to
is
add
a
too,
huge
when we
one.
were in room 21, I did see some kind of big blue misty thing go right across Lisa.
Oh yeah, that's
And that really, I was shocked because she was sitting on the floor at the end of the bed, and it was taller than her when she was sitting, and it just slowly kind of just goes like that
Mhm.
across from her, and it was unusual, I guess. And it was right after her rod said he was in that corner. So that was a good night for the rods.
yeah, it was. All right, well,
And in that room too, though, did the door open or did it close on us?
It opened,
The main
and
door.
then later it closed.
which is also some people reported the door
Yeah.
opening, close, and the bathroom door opening and
Yeah.
closing in there.
Stay
Yeah.
tuned for our recent podcast with the Doors. That was sweet.
Oh,
This-
well, our recent hunt.
Oh yeah, our recent hunt. Excuse me. Yeah.
Had some good door action.
Oh, in the van.
Okay, yeah, no, we don't want to say
Door
that.
action.
We don't want to say it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Leave them one
It's
more,
coming.
guys.
yeah. Well, that's it. Let's do
Plus
our
we got some
store
new
and.
gadgets and
Oh yeah, we got some new equipment too. We'll try that out.
Yeah, so we can start wrapping it up. Like
Any
Hunter said,
questions?
No.
Nice quiver?
I've got good on time. I think
Yeah.
we got. If you do have any other questions, or feel free to drop us a message on the Spirit Hunters group page or privately. We're all listed
Facebook,
as
yeah.
admins on there.
Facebook, you can still comment on this video even after the live is over, so feel free to
Mhm.
talk there.
And also on Facebook, we have all of our links. And be sure to check out our YouTube channel and our TikTok and our Spirit Hunters merchandise store.
Linked at the top of our
Where
Facebook.
currently you can't get the cups.
They're
You
mine.
can't get the hats, the
You can't
shirts,
get these.
the sweaters.
Well,
And
those
the
hats.
buddies.
They came with those hats.
Not these ones.
Can't
but-
get
No,
this
you
hat.
get those hats.
No, they get those ones.
More
Not
stuff going to
tight.
be added soon. We're still
This
working
was
out
a
some details
different
with the
buy.
shipping stuff and things like
Yeah.
that. The mugs will be on soon.
But for local people, he does have local pickup, and if we know you, we could pick it up for you or make arrangements
Yeah.
for that too.
We all have email addresses. It's our first name .spirithunters@gmail. So Lance, Justin, not Monkey, Hunter, Lisa,
We might
Shane,
have to change
I
that.
say,
Hannah.
can you change?
and actually Brenda also is on there.
Yeah.
Also,
And Chrissy.
me
Oh,
personally,
Chrissy.
I don't know about these guys. If you just want to personally message me individually on Facebook,
Yeah, okay. I was gonna say I wouldn't put your private email in.
no. So if on our Facebook page, if you see us on there, it's up to them if they want to allow you
Yeah.
to. But I'm open to messaging if you need to.
We love your stories, and,
Yeah.
and we will help as any way we can. If you're, we get a lot of calls from new groups, wanting to learn how to network and things like that. We'll talk to you. We'll figure out something.
Yeah, and like Hunter said, like drop us some stories. We're getting. I think it'd be best in the fall, like our Halloween episode of the podcast, to do our ghost stories part 2.
Oh yeah.
Do it on DOS.
And like if you guys have any good ones that you want to share, you can let us know, and
Yeah.
we'll share them in the podcast if you want, or if you just want to let us know, just to let us know.
Yeah.
And we're also looking at future podcasts, and not just about our investigations or equipment. You give us some ideas for some, an idea of a show. We'll do, a show with 2 to 3 different themes to it, or whatever, with questions
Yeah.
and answers, and telling our personal beliefs about that topic or whatever. And should be fun.
Yeah.
We also talked about, Monkey was talking about doing a show shirtless,
Yeah.
with some of our
Modeling some of the
gear.
equipment and let
Think
it
about
might
making
do
a
that too.
calendar.
Yeah,
The Spirit Hunters calendar.
Yeah.
I'll be Mr. October.
I thought
Well, that is your
wanted-
birthday.
That is my birthday.
I thought you wanted viewers.
Well,
Oh, wow.
that's a little.
Our own grandmother and mother are
Yeah.
dissing
Yeah.
us right now. Well, with that being said, guys,
Just
thanks for
saying,
watching us. And like I said, follow the links on our Spirit Hunters page. Take care.
Bye. Happy hunting.
Happy hunting.